Have you ever had the small urge to buy yourself some munitions, roll up on a small country and decide to invade? You know that type of thing that Putin does every 2 years? I think it's one of those strange mental thought processes that we have as males. You know, like how many men would it take to fight a silverback gorilla? On that note, that's exactly the feeling that the Hestur HT8008 gave me when I opened the Pelican case it came in. This is a serious piece of kit, but is it worth the money they're asking? Well, my name's Jason, I'm your watch guy today. Let's find out. This is an absolute mammoth in the modern watch world, but with that sizing comes a lot of serious specifications. First of all, yes, this is a quartz piece. However, it's a little bit more than that. It is solar powered with a 6-month battery capability. This has a chronograph capability, as you may be able to tell, but also packs in an alarm function. Not really something that you see outside of the Casio brands these days. Beyond that, they've really hammered home the adventure style of this piece. The internal rotating ring, actuated by the 9 o'clock crown, is a compass bezel. It's also incredibly rugged throughout. The angles are brilliant, but they are very much aided by that titanium alloy sandblasted effect. It does look like an absolute tank on the wrist, and it really does give me those Seiko samurai vibes with the angles to the lugs, but then differentiates itself with that fixed bezel that has cutaways to the upper and lower parts. Obviously, with a more premium price, we demand a sapphire crystal, and we get that. Along with the case, the screw down crown, and the screw in case back, this comes in with 150 meters of water resistance, giving us that little bit more capability, and it's certainly built like a dive watch. This piece has a lot of functions, and they revolve around the pushers and crowns to either side. Both crowns have a good level of grip, but something that I really do like is the nailing to the 3 o'clock crown. Those pushers are unfortunately not screwed down, but they do actuate the chronograph function of the piece, and that accounts for one of those subdials. But the 6 o'clock subdial actually marks the alarm function, which I think is pretty insane to have in a watch like this, but I absolutely love. And all of that is thanks to the VS72A movement that's in the back of the piece. Personally, I really like the depth that Hestur have utilised throughout this dial, from the subdials sunken below to the compass bezel that gives us that chaptering effect, and the applied hour markers throughout. They are obviously also loomed, but the 12, 3, 6 and 9 are marked with numerals that have a brushed finish to them. A small level of more thoughtfulness in my opinion. There are a lot of intricate markings to mark the minutes and seconds throughout that dial, and you can see that they've really leaned into a more instrumental type of feel, whilst also adding a little level of functionality there. The date window is actually sunken really deep into the 3 o'clock position, and I'm not sure if that's because of the movement or the dial, but I see this on Citizens and Seikos alike when they use solar movements. I don't know why this is a thing, but maybe you can tell me in the comments. I actually quite like that they've incorporated numerals to all of the 4 compass points, even if some are partly hidden by the subdials. The handset is simple, but matches into the hour markers perfectly and is loomed, as well as the arrowhead chronograph hand and all of the subdials. Now, I don't think any of us really expect much from Aliexpress brands and their loom shots, but this one's actually really well done. We have the blue superluminova implemented here, and it is throughout the entire dial, including the subdials. It's well spread, it's well applied, and it leaves a really nice signature. Now, if I had one complaint, it'd be that I wanted a brighter appearance to the subdial hands, but with that smaller base, it's hard to do. Personally, I think they've done a really good job with this one. This piece comes with a choice of 2 bands, of which I have both. The more classic rubber band is definitely my choice of the 2. That's because it provides a comfortable fit, it looks good on wrist, and more importantly, it doesn't add any extra height to the piece. As well as that, there's some nice added pieces like the H's towards the ends of the lugs. The buckle also has a sandblasted finish to it, which fits in with the casing very well. It is a real shame that they haven't signed that buckle though. The second band is a nylon stitched band, really fits the adventurous feeling of the piece, especially with that Velcro fit to it. It does add a little bit of a chunk to the piece with the single pass through nature of it. However, this one does actually have a signed buckle, which is strange that they haven't followed that through into the rubber option. For a bigger watch, it does still wear quite well, but I think it's about time that we start to talk about the downsides of this piece and where it may fall short. And we're going to start with the sizing. This is definitely a bigger watch, and as I've mentioned, it wears like a tank for me. That being said, I have smaller wrists than most, so this is one that you should probably assess for yourself. It's listed as being 44.5 millimeters in diameter, but when measuring it, it comes in more like a 46 mil. It's 13 millimeters thick, which I think we probably expect. All that being said, it's well tied together with the 49.5 millimeter lug to lug. That makes it wearable for me. I'm not going to say it's the most comfortable watch I've ever had on wrist because it is massive. It's definitely not one that I've been uncomfortable wearing. Now, aside from that sizing, it's a pretty attractive piece. They definitely should have signed the rubber buckle, but there is another thing that we have to touch on. This is £240 or $310. That's a pretty big chunk of change for a lot of people, especially when you're shopping alongside the Aliexpress market. Therefore, my question is this a better option than some of San Martin's offerings in the same price range? For my personal taste, I'd have to say no. But that's when personal opinions come into it. So you tell me in the comments below, is this something that you would pay for this piece? Or is it something that you would personally be interested in yourself? Are those specifications enough for you? I'd be incredibly interested in hearing what you think on this one. Thanks for watching today, guys. I have linked this piece in the description below if you are interested in it, or if you are interested in anything else that Hestur or Aliexpress have to offer. This is a brand that I've only just became aware of. Therefore, I'm just about getting familiar with it now, and it'd be pretty interesting to see what else they offer. Thanks for watching today. Remember to subscribe to the channel. I'm almost at that 15,000 sub mark. It's been a while coming. If you have any suggestions for a special video for that, let me know in the comments below. I will see you in the next one.